Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pageants and Tangents, episode 15. I have titled this the Substitute Teacher episode in honor of Geanna, who is a teacher. But we have two, they might be surprise or unfamiliar faces to you guys, but they're very, very familiar faces to me. So we'll go around the room. We'll just keep it short and brief because it's someone's birthday. And she didn't tell me, and I feel horrible. And she has to go soon anyway. So also, for those of you watching at home, so I have this here. Victoria, why don't you start off and you introduce yourself, and you can give context for what I'm holding up here.
Sure. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that sweet intro. So my name is Victoria Vredevoogd. I am currently Miss Chandler, and I am the author of the book that Adrian was holding called A Legend of Golden Shadows. It was my debut novel back in 2022, and I'm publishing my second one this summer, finally. So you'll be able to read the sequel soon, which is pretty exciting. And I'm hoping to get that out like in the next couple months or so.
Right. Okay. And how busy are you though? And where's Earl, by the way? And how come Earl, the earless cat, has more followers than you do?
Because he is a cat, and people want to follow animals more than humans, which honestly, same. And I would rather follow a cat than a human, and I get it. I will go get him. He's in like.
You go get him. You go get him. We can talk to him. All right.
I'll be right back. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I'll get Victoria to tell the story, but Earl has probably more followers than all of us. Anyway, we'll keep going around the substitute teacher room. The other substitute teacher is Danielle Latimer, who, if you're in the UK, you'd be hard-pressed not to know who she is. And Danielle, I've known for a long, long time. And here's Danielle.
The whole library is coming out tonight.
Danielle didn't write the book. She just got her mug on the cover. So, Danielle, would you like to introduce yourself? Oh, hang on. We've got to watch Earl.
Oh, no. This is Earl.
Oh, so cute. Look at where is his ears?
They were cut off. So Earl he's my rescue cat. He was found in an abusive trailer park in Phoenix, where he was found with his ears cut off. He had multiple broken ribs and teeth. And so, he was a victim of abuse. He was waiting for about 6 months before I adopted him. And it was like, I love it first sight. I love him so much. And I posted a reel on Instagram about my story of adopting him. Totally blew up. People are obsessed with him. Like, he genuinely has a fan base and a merch line.
I'm not surprised. He's adorable. And thank you for adopting a cat that clearly isn't deserving of some love.
Yeah, and he really is. I'm giving him a little treat right now. So
he's loving life right now.
He's such a sweetie. He is a very, very special cat. Even besides everything that he's gone through, he's just so sweet. I love him. So you can follow him, the earless cat Earl, on Instagram.
I don't know how you managed to make that blow up so quickly, because there's all these people.
Oh, sorry.
We can hear him munching.
I didn't do
anything going on.
It's literally just Earl. I just post his face, and he's so handsome.
There's another one behind.
Oh yes, this is my other cat. Rhea, come here, Rhea. Rhea.
Give me more treats.
Give it back.
He looks like a little seal from behind.
He's like a little otter. Rhea was named after the main character of my novel, whose name is also Rhea. So that's where she gets her name from.
So for those of you who are listening to the podcast and don't have any idea what that sound is, that's not Victoria making those sounds. That's Earl making the licking sounds. And currently Rhea is behind Earl. So there's a line queuing up for what are you feeding them? Is that like a treat?
Yes, it's like a little squeezy tube. It's his favorite. I feel kind of bad because Rhea's not getting any. Earl is crazy. He obsessed with this stuff for real. He really is.
He's like, don't make me go straight on you.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think whilst Victoria extricates herself from that tricky situation, Danielle, why don't you introduce yourself? And here's her book. We'll say it's Danielle's book. It's not. I wrote. Well, I didn't write it. And you can introduce yourself, Danielle.
So, hey everyone, my name's Danielle Latimer, or affectionately known as Danny, and I'm the reigning Miss Universe Great Britain. I'm also the National Director of Miss Earth Wales and Miss Global England.
Anything else? I mean,
there's too much to say. 18 years of service in this industry. I won't list off the titles, but yeah, the reigning Miss Universe Great Britain, that is the one to be known today.
And you also do photography.
I'm also a photographer. I'm actually in my studio currently. I haven't pulled down any of my backdrops. This is just my wallpaper, but I'm actually in my studio currently. I'm also a stylist. What else do I do? Pretty much everything. And I work full time as well. So yes, I am exhausted all the time.
And just for context, it's 11 p.m. and Danielle was gracious enough to come on. Victoria was gracious enough to come on her birthday. We have a comment on YouTube from Being Rihanna who says, Earl is so cute. I do agree. He's a bit feistier when there's food involved. And now Victoria has 2 cats in front of her. That's whilst we're doing the introductions. So, Geanna, I don't have a book, although Geanna has a book. I don't have it here. But Geanna, who's Miss Long Island, finally has... Well, I'll let you catch us up, Geanna. So why don't you catch us up with how your week's been?
Hey. So yes, I'm the current Miss Long Island. Crazy week. We finally got the Miss New York USA dates for the end of July. So now I've always been preparing, knowing that I'm trying to get there, but I just didn't know when it would be. So instead of just like preparing for the void, I now have a end date to prepare for, to be ready for, and have all my stuff together. So that's been fun. I do have a book, like Adrian mentioned, my newly, I guess, is it still newly published if it came out in March? I don't know. Yeah. My newly published children's book. I'm a special ed teacher, so it came from my experiences as a special ed teacher and trying to create inclusive classrooms in our schools. Is there anything else that's really been new? I've been up in appearances. I've been everywhere.
What's new with Geanna is that when she does pop on, she's normally on her computer. She's on her phone this week. Yes. Do you want to tell the story of why you had to appear on your phone and not your laptop?
Yes. So, So other thing I do, if you've seen me on here before, I teach Greek dance. All right. I teach Wednesdays, Fridays, and every other Saturday during the school year. And this past Wednesday, I had a lovely student who we don't really know why. He had a little like rock or pebble in his pocket, and he threw it at my computer. So RIP to the MacBook Air. I just opened it, and like more and more of it is turning to black. They told me it'll just continue because of the LCD. So I have no laptop for the time being. I mean, I guess I have my work laptop, but I was not going to log on to my work laptop. I guess I could have. No, it's fine. But that's my laptop.
I did send a message back when I saw that story from Geanna. I did suggest selling the kit for spare parts. I just want to clarify that's a joke. Okay, but please get your kit under control. Over on Instagram, everyone's wishing Victoria happy birthday. So yes, if you don't know, it's Victoria's 25th. Victoria, I feel like manic because I haven't spoken to the two of you on the right side for so long. I have so many questions. Victoria, do you have any plans for your birthday? You only turned 25 once.
I have this plan. Woohoo. And I saw some of my sister queens from Miss Arizona for matcha today. I'm getting takeout for dinner and watching the Survivor season finale. What more can you want?
That sounds dreamy.
That's a solid 25th birthday.
I just wanted to relax. I feel like I live a very busy lifestyle like each of you. And, some days I just want to chill. And like my birthday is the perfect opportunity to do that because I get to decide whatever I want to do because it's my birthday. And that's what I decided. It's good enough for me.
How's law school going, by the way? How's the law life treating you?
It's going good. I just finished up my second year last month. So I'm starting my summer associate position on June 1st. I'll be working at Morgan & Morgan in the summer. And then next year I graduate and I take the bar and I'm going to be an attorney, which is like crazy. I feel like I just started law school and now it's almost over. I can't even believe it.
When I first met you, Victoria, what were you? That sounds funny, but you weren't planning to be a law student. That came.
No.
What were you doing back then? Didn't you have like 5,000 majors?
I did. We discussed I had 5 majors. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't graduate with 5 majors. I changed my major 5 times. Ironically, I ended with the same major that I started with. But I was in college. I was an undergrad when I first met you. Law school is not on my radar. Did I publish my book yet, or was that pre-book? I didn't even know.
Yeah, you published your first book, yeah.
That was probably 2022. I was definitely with USA National Miss at the time.
That's right.
Yes. So 2022, I was probably Miss UNM, Miss Arizona, I would assume.
Probably.
Yeah.
Victoria, if you can't remember your title, I can't. Okay. I mean, I won't go to Danny because I don't know how many titles Danny had. I don't know how many. I didn't know Geanna was a former Miss New York Teen USA, like in the presence of all these celebrities, and I had no idea. But no, the other thing I was going to say, when I first spoke to Victoria, her hair was a different color,
Yes.
and I'm still not quite used to it. It's weird because your hair, Victoria's hair, used to be black.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen old photos of Danny who used to have peroxide blonde hair, which I can't get used to. Geanna, did you ever dye your hair weird color, or you've been sensible?
Not yet. This is my natural. I did have highlights very briefly in middle school that like turned orangey very quickly. And then I like grew it all out to my natural again. I'm sure I'll hit that phase. I need to hit a crisis soon.
Natural is best. I always think like there's a reason why your hair grew out that color, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always felt like best with it. Its natural color. So I've just kind of, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I've just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. And so Danny, when I just catching up with Danny, so as I mentioned, the blonde hair, Danny and I used to co-host Pageants and PJs. How long ago was that? When did I first speak? I first interviewed you when you were over in America for Galaxy, but you weren't competing.
No, I was just out there supporting.
What year was that?
That was 2019.
Wow.
So 7 years ago.
I'm just having a move. When
And
I
it was like, off
this.
the back of that interview, you had the idea to do a podcast. And you invited me to be your co-host. And I was like, I must have made an impression on that interview.
I will say I'm someone who values not loyalty. That's a weird thing. But there are certain, I don't know if you guys are the same, but you look for someone, if they're going to be like in your actual friend group and not just like a Facebook friend or an Instagram friend, there are certain things that really set me off. And like Danny, I think it's probably one of my, if not my longest standing friend. There's a lot of reasons. She is very loyal and she's very honest, especially as a director. But I will say every birthday she sends me, and by the way, it's the 26th of July, so it's when Geanna's competing apparently. Every birthday, Danny remembers it's my birthday and she sends a voice note of her singing happy birthday, which by the way,
don't ever out me out for that, okay?
Singing is getting worse, not better. But it's just one of those little things. That's why I made such a big deal about Victoria's birthday, because now that I know, Victoria, you have to go in the friend's birthday calendar. So I never I never forget again. But Danny, what I wanted to talk with, whilst I have the two of you, and obviously Geanna, because Victoria also does a lot of pageant coaching. She's one of the people that I send, like if I want someone to learn anything in America, I'll send over to Victoria. Victoria, by the way, people, are you still doing pageant coaching? Because I don't know how it balances. If people want to book it, how do they do that?
They can book through my Calendly, which is linked to my Instagram account. So if you just look at the handle here and then you go into my bio, you can book through Calendly. Or you can go calendly.com/Victoria Vredevoogd, and it'll be there too.
Yeah, but good luck spelling Vredevoogd.
Yeah,
all
or
the
just
lucky.
DM me. Honestly, just DM me if that's easier. I'm super flexible. Like, it's not super formal.
Whilst I have these two lovely guest substitute teachers, I wanted to ask them, because they've run the gamut of probably doing everything, and I'm sure Geanna has done a lot as well, so I'll get Geanna to weigh in. But there's a lot of people who are deciding whether to enter a pageant again. Like Danny made the Miss Universe stage. So if there's someone watching who, whether they're considering coming out of retirement or first-time newbie, and they want to know which system to compete in first, like, how would you go about doing that? I might hit up Danny first, only because she's literally done, I think, every system, and now she's a director and a photographer and a stylist. So, Danny, where would you start if someone wants to get into this crazy industry?
I think you need to look at your passions and where they lie, and to see, do your research on the different organizations and different systems out there, and see where you truly align. If you're an environmentalist at heart, then you might want to go for an environmentally focused pageant. If you care more about empowerment and you feel more like, that a bit more sexy and sassier, then maybe you want to look down the Miss Universe route. If you're more kind of, I find Miss World is more kind of a demure, the girl next door type, a little bit more like kind of softer, a little bit delicate. You're someone that not necessarily has quite opinionated as I am, and you're a little bit more delicate in your approach, then maybe Miss World is for you. I think you just have to do your research and find out who you are and what personality traits you have. As soon as you find out who you are, that will help you decide on what system to go for.
So on that note, how did you end up on the Miss Universe Great Britain stage? I mean, obviously there was the change in rules. I don't even remember when that happened. It seemed like in the dark ages. But what made you come out of like retirement, so to speak?
I mean, what was something that was quite poignant for me was Albany Gabriel, if not now, then when, if not you, then who? And at this point, I obviously had put that dream to bed. That was not going to happen for me, and I'd come to terms with that. And so I found different avenues within the industry that I can work in and pay it forward in. I always said that national directors should never compete, or any director should never compete. I don't think back then I thought you couldn't do the two. You had to either focus on the girls or you focus on yourself. You have to finish focusing yourself and then focus on the girls afterwards and paying it forward. However, I am not your average woman, and anything that I want to achieve, I am capable of doing. So when I say that I can run a successful national pageant and have my girl to go on and achieve success and focus my energy on her as well as on myself and looking after myself, I can do that with the right prioritization, with the right schedule, itinerary. I make sure that my time management's on point, that I'm looking after myself as well as my girls. And I thought, you know what, I can do this. And the moment you decide you can do something, you're one step closer to achieving it. I always say thoughts become things. And if you can think about it long enough, then you can achieve it. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. I've gone off a bit of a ramble. I can't even remember the original question. It's a little bit late here, but for me, it was a case of, if I don't enter now, then I never will. And it was a case of, when I competed, it wasn't a case of right, I've got to win it. That wasn't the case for me. I was just so grateful to have that opportunity. And because I'm the official photographer, I was the official photographer for Miss Universe Great Britain for like 3 years prior to entering, because I didn't qualify anymore. I actually gave up that job and took a massive financial hit as not being the official photographer anymore for that year, as well as obviously having to fund competing in a pageant such as Miss Universe Great Britain. So it was like I lost out on money, and then I had to pay money on top of that. but I was just filled with gratitude while I was there. And I honestly believe that was the key to my success there, because I was just vibrating on a different frequency, because I was just so happy to be there. And honestly, I work 90-hour weeks. So it was just nice to not be working for once and just to have a bit. I thought it was a holiday, to be honest, competing in a pageant. And I think I was just high on life. And I think you vibrate on a different frequency when you step into that interview room and when you step on stage, because you genuinely are enjoying yourself. And I think the nerves can't be there when you're just so grateful.
Yeah, I've often told the girls, like, when you go on stage or like interview room, be excited and have a chance to communicate.
Yeah.
But if you view it as an
But how
interrogation,
do you? It's so hard to get into that state of being excited when you're filled with nerves. And I always think when you are filled with gratitude, when you're thinking about things that you're truly grateful for, everything, the fear, the worry, the nerves, they all disappear the moment you start really zoning in and focus on being grateful.
yeah, it's difficult, but I will say, if you surround yourself with the right people, and whether it's coaches or friends, I think if you're surrounding yourself with people who make you nervous, when you're about to go into the interview room and they keep talking about how nervous they are and, aren't you nervous?
Oh,
aren't
no.
you worried? And I don't think you have to be worried before you. I mean, some people are very anxious. I'm not dismissing that, but I view things a bit different. Like, I don't get nervous before an interview. Having said that, I might be a bit of an odd duck. But I'll throw it over to Victoria before she turns 26, because we've been on for a minute already. The original question was, how do you decide which system to compete in? So, Victoria, both as a contestant, as a coach, if someone comes to you, like, how do you begin that conversation for yourself?
Yeah, Danny made a lot of great points. I will say the systems in the US are a lot different, I feel like, or the big ones are different than what's Great Britain and the UK. So I would definitely be thinking about where you want to grow and what your strengths and weaknesses are. So if you're going to go into USA, that's going to be a lot of modeling. It's primarily walking. You're just doing swimsuit, evening gown interview, and potentially on stage question. Where in Miss America, you're doing talent as well as hot topic, fitness, evening gown, on stage question, and your 9-minute panel interview. So the phases of competition are something that you want to think about. However, I don't believe in I don't have a talent, because that is not true. And we've had a Miss America win doing a science experiment and a Miss America win doing her story. So you can do Miss America. And maybe I'm biased, but I've also done a lot of systems. And I believe that Miss America is the best system for you to grow and develop as a young woman. You get scholarships, you have service all year long. Like, this is a commitment title. You don't show up for a weekend to compete and have fun. If that's what you're looking for, that's fine. I'd recommend a different system from America. Where Miss America, you're serving all year long. You have to have a local title before you go and compete at state. You have your community service initiative. It's a lot of prep, but it is so rewarding. And it's not even just the week of the competition where you're growing. It's the other 51 weeks where you're going to appearances, you're volunteering, you're spending time with your sister queens, and you're having development that way. You're meeting with government officials as a Miss America title holder. So I love that system. It parallels with Miss Volunteer. I've never done that system, but they're very similar. They have the same type of core values. So think about it that way. And like, really, I think pageants or competitions are a way for you to grow and think. I mean, it's always about how can you serve the community, yes, but also how can you grow from it too? How can it benefit you? What connections can you make? Like, how can you grow your repertoire and your personal growth through pageants?
Can I just ask you, because I've worked with a lot of clients with interview, and Victoria, the ones who come through the Miss America system, you can always sort of recognize them because their answers always seem to be more like polished. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but I've also heard that people in Miss America sometimes refer to the interview room as the firing squad. So do you want to just weigh in on that? Because I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
I do have thoughts. Well, I first started in the Miss America organization when I was 13 years old. And back when it was Miss America's Outstanding Teen, and back when they allowed political questions. So when I was 13 years old, I was asked how to solve the ISIS crisis and whether or not transgender people should compete in the organization. At 13 years old, I didn't even know what transgender meant, to be completely honest with you. And I was like, I came out of the room like crying to my mom. I'm like, Mom, they asked me about ISIS and transgender, and I don't know what that is. And I shouldn't know. I'm like in 7th grader.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I will say it is not like that anymore. We have a new directorship, and I don't get asked political questions, even as a miss, really now. Like if you bring it up, or if it's about your CS, potentially yes, but it's not the forward of the interview anymore. However, that is like the core where it started. So like you train to answer political questions, current event questions, these like current questions. So you got to be on your feet and you have to study. Like we have to read the news every single day so we know what's going on. It's also 10 minutes long. I know a lot of pageant systems, it's a lot shorter. I got 10 minutes, panel style, boom, 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 boom. And even in my interview at Miss Arizona, people are trying to get their questions in, and like 3 people will start asking at once. And you got to like kind of pick who you're vibing with, like who's going to ask me a good question, and you. So, you know, it prepares you. You're like a press person. And I think that because I started in Miss America and then transitioned into other systems, the interview skills I got from Miss America served me very well going into other systems. I was so much more prepared for interviews. I also think it helps you in job interviews too, Miss America.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of solving the ISIS crisis, we'll go over to Geanna. So on top of how you would solve at 13, really? Don't know how I would.
It's inappropriate to ask those questions to a 13-year-old. Like,
it was bad.
What?
I don't even think that's an age thing. I don't think it's up to pageant girls to solve, like, let's say the current Iranians. Like, guys,
unless someone's like a politics major or is a politician, then you know, we're not expected to be politicians.
No.
We're supposed to have an idea of current events and have opinions on things, but to ask how to like solve, you know, big issues that are complex that can't even be solved by the professionals, to ask a 13-year-old to come up with a solution is inappropriate.
Yeah.
Wild times. I did not place that year. So everybody knows.
I think gotcha. Who did? Who knew answers to those types of questions?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm so glad that they have changed that, and it's just more about who you are and what you bring to the table and what you would do with the job versus having a bunch of political and current event questions. Like I'm leaving that I don't even know who I am.
Exactly. You have to keep the questions appropriate to the job in hand. That's one thing that I really look for when I'm looking for my judging panel. I really look for judges that have a brain and that can ask appropriate questions, because there's been some questions that I've had in interview rooms that are just, you're like, you've just wasted 30 seconds asking the most random question that does not apply to what I'm applying for here.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think the judging selection is crucial.
Crucial.
Because she knows this more than me. But I sometimes feel you get people on the judging panel who are what I call Z-list celebrities, and they feel like it's their 30 seconds of fame. And so when they get into the room, not only sometimes do they not know the purpose of the pageant, they try and do something jarring, like asking a 13-year-old how to solve the ISIS crisis. And I kid you not, there was a big one of the 2 biggest pageants over here in Australia, at least formally. It's under new directorship now. I heard one of the people on the judging panel say, I thought I was supposed to pick the prettiest girl. And that pageant was the least model-esque pageant that we have. And so when you put someone like that on the judging panel, it's clear they haven't had any sort of orientation or education or anything like that. And I will go to Geanna. Sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up. But just before that, because Danny, I commented on your post on Facebook because you went into quite a lot of detail about the judging process. Can you just go into that a little bit? Because as I said, I've never seen a director post something like that about the transparency on the objectivity, and I think more directors should have to do that. But do you just want to briefly go over what you posted there?
Yeah, of course. So I broke down my thought pattern and my processes for when I'm running a pageant to ensure that it's transparent and it's fair and I'm doing everything the right way. And there was a lot of things I forgot to mention in that post, like the fact that I am never a judge for my own pageant and I never will be. I never want to have that responsibility. I'm always on tenterhooks. I find out who's won at the same time that everyone else finds out who's won. So I make sure that I pick my judging panel so that every girl can see themselves reflected in each one of those judges. I make sure they're extremely diverse, whether it be, ethnicity, whether it be sexual orientation and height, hair color, different backgrounds. It really is. I picked very, very carefully, but also people that know what to look for within a title holder. I broke down my scoring and how that operates, how it's an accumulation of scores, how you can only get a maximum of 20 bonus points. In the grand scheme of things, there's not a lot of points because each judge scores 4 rounds out of 25. So that's a maximum of 100 points per judge. I always have 8 judges, between 4 and 6 in person, and then the rest are online, virtual, that tune in via my laptop that's in the interview room, and they get the live stream that they can use. Tally Genie, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. Tally Genie, it's that online portal where the scores go in. You've got a little bit of time to put some comments in, some constructive feedback. I also send my judges a 3-page judges brief prior to the event, which breaks down everything that we're looking for. I also send my finalists a copy of the exact same judges brief. I've never known any pageant to ever send the judges brief.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
So they can get themselves in the mindset of what a judge is actually looking for. And ultimately, it comes down to gut instinct, what that judge wants to put out of 25 in each round. But I'm giving them the blueprint in order for what they are looking for. So the girls can see, the judges can see, completely transparent. I also offer a 1-to-1 with myself to go over all the comments that were constructive from the judges. I do not make my finalists buy a copy of their score sheets. They have free 1-to-1 call with me, and I go through everything that's constructive. I will never say anything that's going to give anyone a complex, that's going to hurt them or hurt their self-esteem. I make sure that it is a safe environment for every single one of my girls, because I know exactly what it's like to be a part of something where there's corruption, where there's maybe unconscious bias. I know when people have, when it's been straight up been rigged. Also, I know what it's like to walk away from a pageant and have no clue where you went wrong, and would really appreciate the feedback. So all of my experiences over the past 18 years are basically injected into how I run my pageants to make sure that it's as fair and as transparent as possible. I've probably forgotten a load of things that I put in that post, but I just tried to share with everyone, because there's a little bit of a hoo-ha going on in the UK right now in terms of transparency. So, it can be a little bit of a witch hunt sometimes, and people like to jump on things, and a little bit of cancel culture out there. And I thought, you know what? There's a lot of stick that directors get in how to operate. So, and because I only run a small 2 national pageants that don't get a lot of entries, that don't get a lot of attendance. And I think we should focus our efforts on supporting those directors and those organizations that are transparent, that are fair, than all jumping on some big, showy, flashy pageants that may not always have the integrity that others may have, that we should really support the integrity, the organisations of integrity. Otherwise, you know, I'm not going to be here next year running pageants if I don't have the support, if I do not have attendees, if I do not have enough numbers in my finalists. And unfortunately, the way it's going at the moment, next year could right well be my last year as a director. And I think if I can step outside of myself and I can give myself a little bit of credit of how hard I've worked to be transparent and fair and safeguard all of the girls, I think people would rather support someone like me, I'd like to think, but they don't know that I go to these lengths in order to look after my girls. So I felt it was really important for me to share that transparency so that people would support, so I can last another year as a director, essentially, but also for other directors to see that and share their methods and how they safeguard the girls as well, because there is phenomenal work that is happening out there that we don't know about, and we don't always share and shout about it. We just do it because it's the right thing to do. So it was a case of, I want to share what I'm doing, and then hopefully other directors will share what they're doing, and we can learn from each other. It can be a collaborative space where someone said the fact that the whoever wins the public vote from my pageants, they get to return next year if they don't have the outcome they want. They get to return for free, because I understand it's a financial investment when you guys are paying for votes. By the way, you can never win my pageant from a public vote. You can never get a placement from winning the public vote. You only get 10 bonus points, and in the grand scheme of things, out of 800, that's not a lot. But someone's taken from that for their national pageant, that now that they're going to offer their winner of their public vote a free spot the following year because of the financial investment. So, you know, it's things like that. If we don't share our methods, we can't inspire other people. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that up to show what I do, and hopefully, you know, get other people to share the incredible work that they do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that you can dive into there, and I do feel for the directors who are doing it right, because I feel sometimes it's harder to do it right in some ways, because it may cost you money, you may not bring in as much money. But I like to think long tail, that if a contestant has a good time with you and they can, like, sending the judging, that orientation through to them, that's something I've never heard of. And if I was competing in a pageant, you know, God forbid, that will never happen. But if I was competing in a pageant, I would love to know what I am being judged on, because I don't like ideas like, oh, it wasn't your year. Okay,
but why? What were the judges looking for?
Year after year after year, until suddenly it's my time. It's like, what, did everyone else just disappear or die off and I'm the only one left? Because sometimes that's what it feels like as well. So I understand, I respect that. It doesn't surprise me knowing you that you go to those lengths, but I think that's amazing. Now, poor Geanna has been biting her tongue sitting there. She loves to chat. We'll go to Geanna. Victoria, whenever you need to drop, let us know, because I know you said you needed to drop it at 4. But Geanna, the question originally was about selecting your system, your pageant system, right? And I know that you were formerly Miss New York Teen USA, then you competed at Miss Earth USA, and you guys had a very unusual year where it was a reality TV show, like for half of it, and now you're back competing for Miss New York USA. So how do you go about choosing which system?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when I started, I didn't know much about any systems, right? Like, I came from kind of, all I saw on TV was Miss America, Miss USA, right? And I just kind of had to make the decision between two. I really didn't know that there was all these other pageant systems until I kind of dove deeper. And I think the hardest thing for me, especially now, like when I debate on like, oh, do I want to stay in this system? Do I want to move systems, right? Is like going back to, okay, what was my original goal when I started as a teen? And obviously, I know we talked about this in a previous episode, I'm pretty sure, but like, obviously, like, goals can change. You can change as a person. Your priorities, your values might shift and align better with another system. So I think that is something that I'm always considering. The whole reality show from like last year was absolutely crazy, because I knew about it going in, but I didn't really know the extent, and things were switched on us so much, like last minute. Like, it was supposed to be in one place, and it was moved to another place, and then we, multiple dates were being told to be held. I like personally going back to what Danielle said about transparency. I think like looking back, when I look at any pageant, I would like more transparency before I enter something, right? And I think I still look at that. I think actually a big part of why I've pretty much stayed within the same systems, my local system in the USA and Earth USA, is because of the familiarity and like just knowing what to expect. Obviously, I think like many pageant girls, you always get like the little DMs like, hey, come to our pageant. We'd love for you to compete. And I've gotten quite a few of those. And I think the biggest thing that I look at when considering it is, one, like my long-term goal has been to go to Miss USA. So I've been pretty much like staying on that track. But I'm not putting down the possibility of, doing a different, another system in the future and jumping. And obviously America has always been, in my opinion, like something that I consider with like my Greek dance as a talent. So, I like my thing is trying to get my, like, stay on one priority at a time. But the thing is, I look at a pageant and I am crazy and I need to see everything before I do it. So I'm going to stalk the page, stalk their previous pageants, and I say to myself, do I see myself doing this, right? Like I think actually the more like BTS pageants post of the weekend, the better. Like, do I see myself going through this interview process, like the way that they've promoted it? Do I see myself going through this process? Do I see myself on this stage? I even look at, the sort of, because I've judged for Grand too. So it's like for a state pageant for Grand, right? So that's obviously a completely different kind of walk that's expected as opposed to USA, America, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm like, do I see myself doing that sort of routine on stage? That's all things I take into account on, can this be me? Like, it might not, you can be like, oh, I'm not there yet, but I can be there with coaching. Or it's like something where you're like, I'm not comfortable doing this. I will, pick a different pathway for myself. Right? Was that our question? Kind of like how we decide? I forgot what the question was at this point, but I just have a bunch of a visual person.
A bunch of yappers.
And forget the answer. Forget the question. All right, so it's 4:00 for Victoria, so she's going to have to ditch us. Victoria, do you just want to catch us up on because speaking of walking coaching, like if you need walking coaching, go see Victoria. But do you want to just give us like how to follow you, what you got coming up before you drop?
Absolutely, I would love to. So you can follow me at Victoria Vredevoogd. You probably don't know how to spell that, but I'm sure it'll be in the video or captioned somewhere. Oh, here we go.
There it is.
I'll put it in the links, guys, in the description, just so you know, the show notes.
You can also follow me on my title holder account, which is Ms. Chandler_AZ, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing in the America system. I compete for Miss Arizona on June 27th, so less than a month away. It is, or I guess the start of the week is less than a month away. Exactly almost a month away this weekend. So excited for it. I am just can't wait. I'm counting down the days. It's going to be amazing. But for walking coaching, you can DM me. I do virtual as well as in person. If you're not local to Arizona, I do walking coaching over Zoom. So it's not a problem if you're not located in the States or in the Valley. And I'd love to help you on your journey. But yes, please keep in touch. You can always reach out to me anytime if you have questions related to the Miss America system in general, or also just pageants. And I'm happy to help.
Victoria, so I'll let you go, but just before we do, if you are going to be over Miami way, like we were speaking before we jumped on, let me know, because I've never had the chance to actually meet you in person. So you're going to be over there. So guys, if you don't know, I'm going to be at Miss USA, I think last week of August. So if anyone's going to be there, let me know. But Victoria, I'd love to actually meet you, because we've spoken so much via this medium. But thank you so much for coming on, Victoria. We'll let you go.
I'll chat with you. Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Nice
Bye.
to meet you.
Have a good birthday.
Have a great birthday.
Okay, so I won't keep you guys on much longer, because Danielle, it's like gone midnight. Are you still suffering from insomnia though, Danny, or have you actually learned how to sleep?
I think it's the screen time that keeps me awake. As soon as I get in bed, I'll be
Oh
out.
no. So this isn't helping.
It's the blue light is keeping me awake. I'm energized. I feel like I'm like back in old times doing
Do you,
a podcast
Blue light
again.
glasses.
yeah, do you
Just
guys
not
think those
good.
blue light glasses actually work?
You know what? I had a pair of those and I sat on them, and then I never got a replacement pair.
That's not how they're supposed to work, right?
No, I don't think I'm supposed to wear them there.
I don't know. They work. I got a cheap pair and they didn't do anything for me at all. So I was just going to ask Danny, do you still have your cats?
I do. They've left me alone for once. I think they're upstairs, probably on bed, because they like to go to bed earlier than I do. But yeah, I've still got Morris and Murphy. They're my two rag dolls, my two blue-eyed boys. They're very cute. I think the calm is before the storm right now, because it's around about now they like to have a little WWE SmackDown before I go to bed normally.
They're giving you a show. Bed. Duh.
Yeah, so no, I still have the cats. They're around here somewhere. Lord knows. They're probably upstairs with my partner.
Right. Okay. Well, we will begin to wrap it up because Geanna could stay here for longer, but Danielle needs to get to bed. Geanna, do you just want to catch us up? Like how now that you have dates for New York, USA, what have you got coming up? How's pageant prep going like over the next week or month or so? Because now that you actually have, I'm competing here, that's got to change at least a lot of things like in your head. And has school year ended now for you as well?
No.
Oh,
So it's go time basically, but I still have school until June 26th.
Right.
But yeah. So but the last day of teaching is June 12th and then it's final, so I'm not really teaching new material. I don't have to be on top of it. I'm just kind of proctoring exams and grading and making sure my grades are finalized. So that'll be good because I feel like I could go more into prep mode. Even though we just got dates, there's still things kind of up in the air, right? I still haven't really finished paperwork. We weren't even like some paperwork things that we have to submit online aren't even open yet. So kind of just like waiting for the go ahead to submit certain things, because once June hits, like what it's basically July and then there's no time. But yeah, what am I not doing? I have dates now. I've been prepping, like I've had my gown like for months at this point. I got my gown before I even signed up for my local because I was like, I don't want to be rushing for it. I need to be ready, and this is what I want to do. So like I kind of had the concept and was just ready to go for it. And yeah, my interview is almost done. Like my interview outfit, kind of just running around. I feel like my appearances are lightening up in June, but I'm sure I'm gonna probably end up booking more because I'm insane and won't say no. Mm-hmm. But unless I have something else, I will probably not say no. So but luckily I'm ready. Like I've been working out, I've been training with our sponsor, I've been doing all the good stuff.
So the last time Geanna was on, this is for Danny's reference, Geanna did, I think it was a 5K run, and I gave her some shtick about it because she basically did it because she got air and water. She got fed popcorn and was given a seltzer. So I said she ran 5K for air and water. But just so that you know, Geanna, Danny once did one of these. You remember that time you did that run backwards?
Yeah.
Wait,
2.6 miles backwards.
What was that for?
So there was
explain.
It was during lockdown, during COVID, and
that sounds like COVID behavior.
Yeah. And we were just going stir crazy. I started running backwards. It was a charity challenge, and it wasn't even planned. It was a case of everyone was doing these different challenges. It was like 2.6 or 2.6 something.
Yeah.
And I was just sat at home. It was the morning of, and I thought, I could run backwards 2.6 miles.
Did you trip?
So I then just kind of like picked my phone up out of my pocket and went on to Instagram stories and decided that I'm going to do a 2.6 challenge. I'm going to go for a run backwards. And here's my donation. I made a donation link, of course. And I think I raised like £150 or something within like within like half an hour. So yeah, just I ran around the park that was local to me like 3 times, and I ran past the same people backwards, and they were like, "What on
I
earth are you
remember. 'Cause
doing?"
I remember seeing I think it was live or later on, and I
Yeah.
remember people in the background of your camera looking at you going, WTF, basically.
Yeah. And then there was this one guy that was like cheering me on as well, because I had the thank you t-shirt on for our NHS with the rainbow on it. They sold those on the website to like, you know, raise funds for NHS in it together.
Yeah.
And so I think I shouted, he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing it for charity." And then he was like, "Oh, go." So every time I ran past, he was like, "Go, go."
That's actually adorable, though.
Yeah, it
I
was
would
just
have.
a spur of the moment thing, you know, when you just think, what can I do? What can I do to contribute? And I thought, you know what, I can run backwards.
I feel like I
The
would have.
scary thing with that, Geanna, was that I think Danny's time running backwards was probably faster than what I could do running forwards,
That's so
because
funny.
I don't like running, and Danny is
Yeah.
a very good runner. Have you done marathons? And I can't remember. I know you
Yeah,
love
I've done
them.
the London Marathon, 2013.
Wow.
I got a ballot place last year, but I actually didn't do it because you know what? I had quite a lot on with prepping for Miss Universe Great Britain and running 2 national pageants. So I was like, I think I bit off a little bit too much. So I
Yeah.
couldn't quite commit to my I was training, but I think I was more like in the gym training than
Yeah.
really focusing on my running. So because I wanted to be in like peak physical shape. Bear in
Mm.
mind, I am 37. So I think the older you get, the harder it gets in order to get to where you want to be, fitness level, particularly
Yeah.
as a 30, well, I was 36 at the time, 36-year-old competing with 18-year-olds, you know, you're gonna have a different type of biology then. So I really was putting those hours in the gym in order to like, you know, keep everything tight.
Yeah. I think it's amazing, because I know that not everyone was in favor of age limits changing. The thing is, when you look at like someone like yourself, Danny, on stage, and it's like you don't. I don't think anyone guesses your age first off, but I think it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that if a woman can do the job, she can do the job. I was having this discussion the other day with someone, I can't remember who, and they were talking about, oh, they used to be, oh, if your mother, you can't compete. If you're, if you had a child, you can't. And I'm like, I just like give the women the chance. If they can do it, they can do it. And I think there've been a lot of people keep quoting, I think the example last year, Geanna, Miss USA, I think it was Shantaya McIntyre.
Yeah, she got like 3rd runner-up.
Yes. Oh my
Runner-up, I think.
gosh. Yes. I loved her.
Like she
Did you see
held her own
the
so
thing?
well. Wait, what? Sorry.
The physical shape that she was in. And it's like, if you're going to tell me that, the older, in inverted commas, women can't compete against the young ones, I'm like, are you sure? Like,
She's
I don't know
in better.
about
She's in better shape than me, and I'm 23, so I'm working on it.
Yeah.
She was just a force to be reckoned with. Like, you know, when
Yes.
people have that energy where they just she was just enticing with her energy, and you just want to have a little piece of that. And I think if
Yeah.
you've got that, it doesn't matter what age you're at. If you've got that
Yeah.
type of go-getter energy, then it's infectious, and you can't help but admire that person.
She felt like fresh on stage. Like she
Yeah.
like it like age doesn't matter. Like if you have like that youthful kind of energy, that doesn't matter on how old you are. And I think it showed. I think she had this like, it was just, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's not like this like breeziness about her where I was just
Yeah.
like, she wasn't overdone with anything. It was just,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I was actually following her journey because she was one of the like, she found out via like she was one of the virtual,
Oh,
and I remember seeing her video, and she was a little, was she last minute as well, like had
all of the open call states last year had like 3 weeks, 4 weeks like, between when they found out and when they had to go to Miss USA. So yeah, she had like 3 weeks to
a whirlwind to like turn that all around and just go in there and just bring that type of energy. It's just the next level of a human being, essentially.
Yeah, and place top 3. Like,
yeah.
I think it's easier in some. I think that might be where age is an advantage, frankly, because when you have a bit more perspective, you realize that a pageant is, not necessarily the complete end of the world or the most important thing that's happening on that day. And I think that's where age can actually help. It can actually be an advantage over someone who's like 20 or 21 competing, because you just
Yeah.
generally, anyway, don't have that perspective at
Yeah.
that age. I will say the open call people, even this year, don't have that much time to turn it around, because open call for Miss USA has just started now. And then this round of entries, the winners will be announced in June, I think. And then you're competing in August. So you have 2 months to get ready for the Miss USA stage. And then the next round, you'll have 1 month. So everyone who's submitting open call needs to be preparing for the national stage and have their wardrobe and all that stuff, because otherwise you've only got 1 month to turn it around, and I don't know if that would be enough time.
Yeah.
But Danny, just before let's move towards a close, because I know it's past your bedtime. Tell the people watching, like especially over in the UK, so what you've got coming up, but also they want to enter your like all the good stuff.
Of course. So we actually have Miss Earth Wales happening this coming Saturday. So I'm in full director mode. So yeah, I'm currently looking around my studio and I can see awards on the floor. I can see the crowns. I can see the sashes. I can see a Welsh flag. Everything's ready to go. Tomorrow I'm making an installation that people can take photos in. So that's going to be good fun so be putting my DIY skills to use. So yeah, Miss Earth Wales is happening this weekend. Tickets are still available on the website. They will be coming off the website on Wednesday. So you need to get your ticket before then. Tickets will be available on the door as well, but do not expect cash back if you haven't bought the correct amount. So get your tickets if you want the better seats, because I'm doing a seat plan this year, and those who buy sooner get the better seats. I also have Miss Global England that will be happening at the beginning of next year. Applications are open for that, but we don't have a date just yet, so I can't imagine anyone will put any applications in without a date. But it's happening at the beginning of next year. I also have my handover, Miss Universe Great Britain, happening on the 11th of July, and tickets are available for that if you want to come and see me hand over and see who I crown to be the next Miss Universe Great Britain and represent Great Britain at Miss Universe.
I don't know how do you run your day or your week? You need a PA.
Everyone asks me this. I don't know is the answer to that question. I just do my best, and that's all I can do. I tackle each task ahead of me. And I always take on too much, but somehow I manage to do it.
You know what's funny about this? Because obviously we were doing our podcast and we were speaking a lot during the COVID lockdown years, and and it was like each day, I don't know, Geanna, if this was same for you, but basically you had nothing on. Right, you could have a whole month where you basically didn't plan it. I remember the most exciting thing for me was going to the shops for the first time, and because when I got back from the UK, because I was over in the UK just before COVID became COVID, and I couldn't leave the house literally for 2 months or something. And so I was so excited when I went to the supermarket for the first time. I didn't even go there to buy anything. I just went there to see other human beings and walk up and down the aisle. But to go from that period where, what have you got on this week? Nothing. Next week, no. Next month, nothing. Right? To this time now, Danny, where you got like so much in like a compressed space. It's funny how far we've come. Let's just put it that way.
That's crazy.
And I've got to look forward to Miss Global as well, which is happening in October. And then I've got Miss Earth they haven't announced the dates or the location for that yet. So I've got those two internationals to look forward to as well. So my year just does this now, and it's just a rotation of pageants.
And then you work.
And then I work full time. Yeah, and then I shoot at the weekends. So yesterday I was a photographer for a pageant called a Sisterhood Ambassador. So I was up until like 1 o'clock shooting that. And then luckily I've had a beach day today. But yeah, I saw in the photos out this morning before I went to the beach. And then having to get my public vote to go live, uploading and editing, editing of the headshots for Miss Earth Wales and put them up on the website. There was an issue with my voting platform that they got the artwork wrong, so they're having to change that. So yeah, even I was on the beach, just like going backwards and forwards to the team in Vietnam, being like, please, can we change this? So yeah, there's a lot to life right now.
Wow.
I seem to remember a time when you were pretty rubbish with technology. Clearly, those years are behind you.
They've got a little bit better. Yeah, kind of have to like manage my own websites for all of my businesses. I don't have anyone that manages that for me. And yeah, kind of have to be on my game now, unfortunately.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there's been a lot of learning in the past few years, that's for sure.
Geanna, what do you have coming up in the next week? That's a hard act to follow, but what have you got coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Next couple weeks, I mean, I can't compete, but my birthday's on Wednesday. Yes,
Your birthday too. I need to write this down. When's your birthday?
Season. You need your birthday list.
May 27th, Gemini season. And I have off for my birthday because it's like a holiday, so yay. And what am I doing? Honestly, literally my next 2 weeks is just kind of get through the rest of the school year. Like I'm giving my final in class and I'm just kind of getting through it. And hopefully I made some last minute plans to like do a shoot with my evening gown for New York if I can swing it in time, because I've always wanted to do one of those like gown reveal shoots.
Oh yeah, you got to drop that photo, schedule that photo to drop just before you walk out in evening gown as well. Like,
yes. That's the plan. So I mean, like this is the first time where even though I am crazy all over the place with like my full-time job and whatever and my other stuff, gosh, this is also the first time where I feel like which is so weird considering they just dropped the dates for New York and I have 2 months, but at the same time, I do feel like this is the first time I've had so much time to think about things like that. Like I never had time to think about doing an extra photo shoot like that. I've never had time to think about doing like, this is my first time getting like a custom interview outfit made. Like I've never had the time to do that before. Last time I competed, I was a grad student for when I was doing New York USA. So it's definitely different being full-time working, but
it sounds like you've had the opportunity to be a little bit more creative as well in the run up to this. And I think, honestly, creativity is such an underestimated luxury to have when you're about to compete in a pageant. I think it sets you apart from the others just to be have that extra bit of creativity.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I have a lot more agency over kind of what I'm doing this time around. I've had a lot more creative direction over every aspect of every aspect of what I'm bringing to the table, like my interview, my outfits, my even just like my workout routines. So I think, I don't know, I just and I guess this goes back to the kind of energy you give off and being that I'm a little older from the last time and all this and that, and I feel a lot more just relaxed. Like I'm excited, but I'm not nervous and I'm not second guessing anything because I've made so many of the decisions myself. Yeah.
You feel like you as well because you've had your own signature stamp on everything. And the biggest, corniest piece of advice that I agree with is just be yourself. But how do you be yourself? You can't truly be yourself unless you're happy with every element of the competition, and that's really difficult to get to that point in order to be happy and excited to wear your interview outfit, to be happy and excited to wear your gown and to drop that photo before you walk out in it, because sometimes we're time starved or we're money starved or creativity starved because we're overworked. So it's so good that you've got agency over this, and I've got a really, really good feeling for you.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, I hope everything goes your way. I'll be completely unbiased, because if it goes your way, then I'll get to see you in Miami in a couple of months, won't I? And I get to get out of an Australian winter and get to have a Miami summer. I don't know how hot that's going to be. I assume it's going to be warmer than an Australian winter.
No, Miami, I think, gets pretty warm. You're really, that's like really south in Florida. So, I mean, hey, I might just go anyway. I'm looking at my Delta Sky miles. I'm like, I think I could go to Miami. We'll figure it out. It's like the week before school starts, but I'll figure it out.
Girl, you're gonna be there anyway. Get that title and you'll be there.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And then you won't be able to see him because you'll be too busy.
Yeah, sorry, Adrian. I'll find you after.
No, I'm going to probably be at all the events. That's one of the reasons that I'm going over there, is to help cover the events. So if you are there as, Miss New York USA, then you'll be seeing me.
Try and make time for Adrian when he's there trying to interview all the girls.
I'll find you in a crowd.
Thankfully, I'm tall, so you will probably be able to see me. If it helps, I can dye my hair blonde again. You can see the blonde tips. And,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, I used to have long blonde hair. So speaking of bad hair choices, I've made a few of my own. Danny, did I ever send you the photo of me when I had long blonde hair?
I've seen you. Yes, I have seen this.
I think you should just get a wig for Miss USA week, just in case.
What, a long blonde wig?
Yeah. Why not?
Geanna, no one wants to see that. No one. I was growing my hair long, and I shaved it off the other day because I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not going to grow my hair long anymore. Anyway. But that's something to look forward to. So we will hold it there. Thanks to everyone who joined on. So Victoria, who's now having her birthday. Geanna, who will be having her birthday, and Danielle, who's about to turn into a pumpkin if we keep her on any longer.
Oh my goodness.
So thanks to all of you, and I'll keep you on the line for just a sec to hang out with everyone else. Thanks for watching. We'll speak to you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you're a competitive pageant girl and you're after some high-performance pageant coaching, make sure to come and check us out at thepageantproject.com, where you can start your journey for free. In the meantime, follow us on all our socials at The Pageant Project. Speak to you next time.